Start actually doing something useful with your life. Why do you think you should be giving advice to people? How do you find what you want to do when you're older? Alright, Q&A time. If you're new here, my name is Sam. I make videos trying to help people figure out what they want to do with their life, and I also do weekly vlogs showing my journey away from uni and how I'm looking to make money and travel. On my Instagram story a couple of days ago, I put out an anonymous form so you guys could ask a bunch of questions related to what I'm doing, how I can afford travel, what my plans are like, any advice I can give. And we got some great questions. I chose to do it anonymous because I didn't want people to hold back on what they were asking if it felt kind of confrontational. So let's fire away. We'll start with a couple simple questions which are pretty rapid fire. Do you recommend a gap year? Yes. Absolutely. As long as you have some sort of idea as to what you're going to do while you're away from uni, then I 100% recommend a gap year. It doesn't have to be a big plan, just some kind of idea as to what you're going to spend that time doing. Will you ever come back to a cubing competition? So for those who don't know, I used to do a lot of Rubik's Cube solving. I don't have my cube here, but I was really fast. Yeah, I don't know. I probably won't ever do a competition again, but I definitely don't want to lose the skill. I definitely want to stay sub 15 seconds. Maybe I'll do a video on how to solve a Rubik's Cube. It's actually really fun. So those were the simplest questions, and now we'll get into the deep stuff. How has Bali helped you with life lessons? Bali specifically probably hasn't helped me with life lessons, but that month of traveling in Indo helped me figure out if doing remote work was right for me, because I've always had this idea that that's the dream and that's how I'd want to live. I think the best style of work for me is a combination of remote work and committed at a location. Yeah, it's made me realize how I want to kind of balance work life if I want to do remote work. If your passions don't align with the direction or career in life, where to? I mean, what I'd say to that is, are you sure that your passions don't align with any kind of career or direction? Because I feel like there has to be something that with a passion you can turn that into some sort of monetization and some sort of career. It might require you to think outside of the box, but if you really look, I think for any passion, any interest, there's a way to turn that into a career for you. I'll say sit down and really think about where other people find value in that passion, what you're an expert at in it, because I feel like there's always something you can sell and some way you could help others through your expertise in a passion or showing the world what you love to do. What are you doing for work and how are you making money? So I do work as like a freelance photographer, videographer, video editor, even some graphic design work, and I'm still building up this base. I started about 4 months ago trying to make this freelance thing a business model, and it's not sustaining me full time at the moment or anything. I'm making like a couple grand a month net, which is good, and that's through like working for companies and clients by making videos and editing and whatnot. And my normal day job is I work at a private boys' school as a mentor for this like rite of passage program that year 9 students go through, which is often full on, but it's really fun, engaging, and actually translates really well into trying to find good ways to explain ideas and give advice and kind of treat this as like a mentor role as well. Yeah, that's my main source of income. It pays pretty good. It's kind of like you have a few weeks on, few weeks off setup because of how the school year works. But yeah, I love that job, and that pretty much all of that money I've been directing to travel savings, and then I've been living off the kind of freelance cash that I'm earning every month as general expenses. So that's kind of how I'm also blocking my Europe savings. That's how I save for Indo. Are you going into this career path with a backup plan? Well, I've got the ability to go to uni if I want to. I mean, I could go back and study what I wanted if I found something. So I guess that's my backup. Like potentially I could see myself maybe in the future going back and studying film, I guess, or I don't know. But I'm leaning into this like I have no backup plan. This is my priority for sure, and it's all that I want right now. Pursuing making videos, doing this freelance work, and talking to the camera really. Worst case scenario, I could go back and study something. But right now, this is definitely my undivided attention, and that's how I'm treating it, if that makes sense. Backup plan, uni's kind of always there, but I just don't know what I'll do if I go back. Does it scare you that you've already started your career? Because people our age at uni don't have that kind of pressure to perform at a career level yet. Good question, because that makes me think about the idea of like career, like what exactly that means. Naturally, I enjoy the responsibility of taking on this challenge and trying to make money myself and trying to like build this business up on my own. So it doesn't feel like that typical career. I don't feel like a corporate, like a cog in the chain or a cog in the system of society in what I'm doing necessarily. And maybe that's kind of what you typically have as your envisioning of a career. So no, it feels natural, not scary in that sense. I don't feel like I've committed to something I can't get out of as a career. I feel like doing something creatively like this that doesn't involve a degree, that level of commitment that people imagine a career to be because of getting the degree and spending the money to get to the point you can do it, a lot of that's diminished when you do something creative like this. So yeah, good question. Are you doing what you want career-wise only because you're young and don't have the pressure? Or are you planning to do this for the rest of your life? Or are you only doing what you are for now, then we'll do something else? How are you thinking about the future in relation to the questions above? Okay, that is pretty loaded. Basically, I don't exactly know. I don't exactly know what will change as I keep doing this, like where my interests will kind of lead me. But I do plan on writing this fully for all of 2024 and for the next few years after that, really, unless something significant happened that meant I had to take a step away from it. So to answer your question, I do think about the future because I have really clear and specific goals set, which I'll talk about at the end. But my prime focus is on the processes that I'm taking here and now. I hold on to my why firmly, but the how I think will always change a bit and remain flexible. So I don't exactly know what mediums I'm going to use to kind of keep pursuing my why, but the passion I have to make these videos to try and show people that you can do something differently and try and help people understand what they want to do, I feel like that's really firm. It's just the way I'm going to deliver it might change over time. When will you stop talking about dropping out and start actually doing something useful with your life? I think so far this has been a pretty useful use of my life. I'm curious as to what doing something useful looks like to you. I mean, so far I've been fortunate enough to make these videos that have helped others figure out what they want to get out of their life, whether or not they should travel or study. I've done work for companies that I'm really proud of, and I've done some really amazing and fulfilling travel myself. So for me personally, this is doing something useful with my life. It may not look like that to you, and that's okay. I just hope that you can fulfill your definition of doing something useful with your life, whatever that may look like. I think it was Naval Ravikant who said, success is knowing what you want and taking steps towards it. And I think I've been successful. Struggling to build motivation to go to the gym regularly. Thoughts or tips? Yeah, I've got a good one for this kind of thing. When you have something that's got friction and you're procrastinating and you're not doing something you want to do, you got to try and find a way to make it feel good. Try and think of what can you do to reduce the friction of getting yourself into the gym and making it an enjoyable experience that you want to go back and do again. If you can find a way to make it enjoyable and fulfilling, that's the key. I actually just talked about this in this week's newsletter. I've got a newsletter for free coming out every Monday called the Dropout Diary. You can sign up in the description. I give weekly updates kind of on where I'm tracking, kind of like a written vlog. Creative tips and tricks. This was the one of this week. A book, podcast recommendation, and something to kind of think about as you go into your week. Come out early Monday mornings every week. Head down to the description, sign up. It's good use of your time. Anyway, back to the question. I've been trying to get more into my running, and a way for me to run more consistently. So one thing I love doing is going to the beach, and I've started running along the beach instead of straight out my front door, which means I can park by the beach, go for a run along the coast, which I much prefer, and then have a swim straight after. So by doing that, it's helping me run more regularly because I have this reward, and I'm making the act of going for a run way more enjoyable because it means I can be at the beach, be running along the coast, and I can go for a swim after. So yeah, I think that, and that could be thinking about what time is best for you to go to the gym, what kind of split you do. Maybe push-pull legs actually makes you feel like shit, and a full body split might be a way that you enjoy the workout more. So yeah, don't always think optimize in every aspect. Think of what can I do that's sustainable? What makes this enjoyable, and what can I do that is going to be a routine for the gym that I'll do for the next, 5 years. Because if you want to go, you won't need to hype yourself up with motivation to get out the door. You'll just want to go. 2K24 travels. Where to? We've got the one main big ticket travel destination, and that's a 4-month trip through Europe starting in the end of April. Literally only 3 months away, we're going to Europe for 4 months. So yeah, that's going to be a huge trip. It's going to cost me everything I have. We're going to go all around, and the plans are super loose, but going to land in London, Ireland, UK, Scotland. I want to go up to Scandinavia as well, so come down from Norway probably. Denmark, Amsterdam, Germany, France, maybe Portugal, hopefully. Greece, I don't know. We've got a lot of planning to do there, so yeah, huge trip there. And then, I mean, hopefully towards the end of this year as well, we can do another Indo trip if I've got a bit of money left over. So October, we might be able to get over to Indo for a few weeks as well. But I mean, the main focus is that 4-month trip. It's gonna be major. And that's gonna be so cool for these videos. I'll still keep up my weekly vlogs and literally just bring this GoPro, talk to the camera over there and show you another aspect of my life and this big goal I've had of traveling while working. It's kind of coming together. When did you realize you were going to take this path and drop out of uni? When did you realize you weren't wrong for uni, but uni was wrong for you? When did I realize like uni was wrong for me? Pretty much probably the moment I started Sem 1 in 2023, so last year. So a bit of background with that, I started uni straight out of school, Sem 1 2022. I was doing journalism and I just instantly had issues with the course and it just wasn't for me. So I chose to, at the end of that semester, defer, moved down south and I did like a working holiday basically down in Yallingup, and it was just amazing, like an incredible 6 months, and it really changed what I thought about university and what I could go out and do. But when I came back, I had no idea what I was possibly going to do if it wasn't university. So then in Sem 1 2023, I signed up for business at UWA, and like straight away I hit the exact same wall. That was probably when I realized that I had to find something else. So yeah, I finished Sem 1, but I spent a lot of my time in Sem 1 thinking about what I would do instead of university and kind of coming up with ideas. And I think it was while I was sitting at this desk in this room, I came up with the kind of concept of Dropout diaries and being the lab rat, showing what dropping out of uni looks like and doing a big travel trip, which is the Europe one coming up. Yeah, so I had this idea of what I was going to do, and then I took the leap, started making videos in August. And yeah, we've learned a lot. So far, so good. What do you do to stay motivated? I don't really stay motivated. Like, motivation for me comes and goes, totally. I feel like you can't always be in this prime, like pumped up, motivated state for anything. Some days I'm full of it and I'm really keen to be productive and work on these videos and film and even exercise, but other days I'm just nowhere near it. But my focus has been recently on like, what systems can I make that for my worst days I'll still get things done that I need to get done. This is a concept from James Clear, written in Atomic Habits, which is a great book, highly recommend. But yeah, he talks about what, like, when you're building habits, not building habits that are ones that you can only complete on your best days, but the ones that on your shittest days, you'll still get it done. Because a good habit is a habit you don't quit. So if you can't keep it up, don't do it. So yeah, I mean, for me, habits like still posting every day on TikTok, running now like 5 days a week and going to the gym like 4 days a week. That's my baseline. That's something I just, on my worst days, on my worst weeks even, like that's what I want to have as my baseline and still get that stuff done. And you know, every Monday morning I'm posting that newsletter no matter what. Every Wednesday I'm posting the Dropout Diaries video. That's my kind of baseline now, if that makes sense. So, you know, even when I'm not motivated, there's processes that I've got as good habits, so I'm going to stick to them no matter what. So, okay, we're like halftime break. I'm going to change the camera angle. We'll keep going. The GoPro was like overheating. I had to let it cool down. Look at this angle. New angle, cool. Getting to some progressively deeper stuff. Progressively harder questions, which is good. Do you think working hard in your 20s and being financially set so you can enjoy your 30s is better than enjoying your 20s and then working throughout your 30s? Interesting question, because I'd say neither. I'm not really looking at it that way. Working hard doesn't have to be at the opposite end of enjoying yourself. It doesn't have to be like an antithesis to enjoyment and fulfillment. I mean, I get it. We use this idea of the grind and it's often promoted like hard work being the answer, and head down, like just doing shit that sucks, doesn't feel good, will eventually pay off and you'll feel better later. I'm building this so that I actually enjoy the process as well. Like, I enjoy filming this, doing my client work. I love my day job as well. Saving for Europe, there's the anticipation to that as well. Hard work can be enjoyable work. It just depends if you're doing something you enjoy and you're working hard on it, you'll probably enjoy it. But if you're doing something you don't like and you have to do it hard, then sure, then there's this trade-off of like working hard and hating something and then trying to hopefully then when later on you can enjoy yourself. I guess that's like the concept of traditional retirement, which I think is probably outdated. Like this idea of working so then you have enough money for when you're older to then use it at say 65, 70 when you've got all these health problems and you can't make as good use of the money. Like think about your kind of prime window where per dollar you get the maximum amount of benefit from it. This is talked about in a book called Die with Zero. Great book. I'll leave all these book recommendations and stuff in the description as well, because there's some gems in Die With Zero talking about the value of money, how the value of money changes when you get older, and what is your kind of prime age for spending to get the maximum amount out of your money. And it really has a counterintuitive reframe of the idea of retirement and how you should save. You don't have to sacrifice one part of your life for another. At least that's how I'm kind of approaching this. I don't feel like as a 20-year-old I'm sacrificing anything right now. I wouldn't even know if I'd put myself on the side of hard work or enjoyment, because I'm doing both. I'm spending so much time doing this shit, but I love it. So do you feel like you're trading something necessarily, or can you enjoy it at the same time? How much financial support did you receive from your parents? How do you buy your equipment, and how do you afford to travel? First of all, I'm fortunate enough to be brought up in a middle upper class environment, totally. And I'm lucky that my family's completely behind what I'm doing. Although I do think if you commit to what you're doing and you have a plan, your family will likely respect that. Can't speak for everyone, but I film the majority of my work, these videos, on the GoPro, which is what I'm using right now. This cost me $650, I think, GoPro Hero 11. And it's intuitive, anyone can use this to film videos. Pretty much all of my Dropout Diaries series has been filmed on it as well. That being said, they bought me my laptop, ironically for university back in 2022. My dad is a really keen photographer, so luckily for me, I share the Nikon Z7 with him, which I'm super lucky to be able to make use of that. Be able to share an interest with my dad I can't deny that has given me an advantage with using gear that I wouldn't be able to afford normally. Yeah, and then, traveling's on me. I have my sources of income. I work, save, and there you go. All this gear, the lights, monitor, mic, all this other stuff I've bought. Yeah, work, save, spend wisely. I put so much of the money I earn straight back into this. I guess there's a level of commitment I have now where this is my priority. So that's how it is. Best tips on being present. I reckon the best tip I could give you is read a book from Robert Wright called Why Buddhism is True. Contrary to the title, it doesn't just try and prove Buddhism or teach it. I don't know why it's called that, because it's a great book just showing you how to do mindfulness meditation and be present. And it's talked about in an easy to understand way from this, I think he's just this American psychologist or something who just had gone on some meditation retreats and then found that it had a drastic improvement on his life. And I think that book breaks it down in a really easy to understand way and gives you some practical tips to try and become more present. But if I had to give you one, I'd say just pay attention to the world around you. Notice the sounds around you, clothes on your back, the way the world kind of moves with you. See, this gets fluffy really quickly. Something more practical, like you can take 3 moments every day where you just close your eyes, take 3 deep breaths, focusing on your breath for those 3, then open your eyes slowly, look around, and just appreciate exactly where you are and everything that's around you. I think that's a good starting point. It's hard to make it not sound fluffy. You just need to read a good book. And that's why I think Why Buddhism is True is a less fluffy book that describes meditation and being mindful and present in a really good way, especially as an introduction into that kind of world. So link in the description to that one as well. Gee, we're just throwing books everywhere. Best 3 quotes to live by. I mean, look, on the spot, I don't know. I'll give you one that's worth thinking about. This phrase called amor fati, and it means love of fate. And it's not necessarily to think about this as this fluffy, everyone has a destiny and a fate in which they're prescribed when they're born to the universe to achieve or anything like that. I've saved a summary which I quite liked. The ways in which your current situation, though perhaps unplanned or unwanted, could be the path to the place you've always wanted to be, if only you'd begin to think of it that way. And this guy called Nietzsche, he's the one who coined the term. He describes it as, my formula for greatness in a human being is amor fati, that one wants nothing to be different, not forward, not backward, not in all eternity. Not merely bear what is necessary, still less conceal it, but love it. I have it right here as well. I think that one's been a huge driver of getting me through those times of really a lot of self-doubt and kind of like an existential crisis about this and what my future looks like. Understanding that this could be exactly what I need to get to a different place, and you just don't know how the domino effect and a butterfly effect, you could say, about things that happen to you, how that's going to impact you in the future. It's like an idea of that nothing is inherently good or bad because you don't know what effect something could have. You know, like if you get cheated on, you could have actually dodged a bullet in a way, or could have taught you a really important lesson that saved you from going to other terrible relationships and finding the love of your life. So yeah, amorphoity, it's a great concept about just loving what happens to you and accepting everything and being able to see that you can't control certain things and you don't know what's coming, and that's okay, I guess. Yeah, try and live by that one, and then I'll try and come up with 2 other ones for, I don't know, another time. You can ask me in the comments, I'll write 2 more down. How do you ignore the stereotypes of you won't be successful if you don't go to uni and questions like that? Mainly through, I guess it's like this skewed idea of like success. So many people have success as this thing that's always far away and like a $ amount and a destination. Not only can you, it's a fact that not only can you earn a living by doing something different to university, which I'm currently finding out, success, to me, it's better to think of success as a process, like as a verb. The quote from Naval earlier, like success is knowing what you want and taking steps towards it. So, honestly, those stereotypes don't really have any hold on me. And I think as people see what I'm doing, they start to understand what I'm doing. It doesn't suit traditional ideas of success or even a career. But yeah, times, they're not traditional anymore. That shit is gone and things are changing. So I just think that the statement that you can't be successful if you don't go to uni is just not true. And there's been so many examples to show that. And I'm hopefully trying to be an example as well and show you through my videos. So how do you get over disappointed parents when you're doing the things you want to? So for me, my parents initially, I wouldn't say they were disappointed, but a bit confused when I initially said I was going to drop out. I don't blame them at all for that. It was a big decision with no warning for them and no clear way for me to prove to them that it would work out or that it actually made any sense. But I knew that they would support me with it. I think the best way to get over any sense of disappointment from your parents is to show them what you're doing. If you can show them that what you're doing is working for you and it is making you happy. If they can't see that or they're still disappointed, then you can't really help them there. I think at the core of it, parents just want their kids to be happy, secure and safe. So if you're achieving those, which, if you said in the question that you're doing the things you want to, probably ticking those boxes. If you're doing those things, show them. How have you found friends living similar lives to you? Example, not at uni, into traveling or YouTube? To be honest, I don't actually have that many. And that's something I want to change this year. I want to find more like-minded people. But those I do have, it's really valuable for me and motivational wise to stick with what I'm doing. And to find them, social media, it's the move. If you're making it clear what you're doing on your socials, like posting reels or talking about your topics, then you're bound to come across other people who are in your circle and doing similar work to you. And I just encourage you, if you do find those people, to reach out and just send them a message and get chatting, because having a like-minded circle around you for what you're trying to do is just a huge impact on who you're going to be as well, the influence of people around you. And that person would, at the very least, just be stoked to see that someone's pursuing their interests like they are. Yeah, social media is the move, especially if you're doing something where you're posting on social media. Like for me, when I'm doing content creation, it comes naturally to find people on socials. But even if you're doing something different, I just think social media is a quick way to find like-minded people, and then also going to places where the people you want to be like would go. Say run clubs, certain events or lectures, even if say it's at uni. How do you find what you want to do when you're older? Trial and error is great. And that's something I feel like you can lose a bit at uni if you're not careful. The ability to keep experimenting. So if you are at uni and you're not sure about exactly what you want to do, I would just say, you just got to try different units. You got to explore everything. And you can also do that completely for free outside of uni if you're proactive with your time. And realize that there's no time frame. There's no rush to finding the answer about what you should do when you're older. If you're in school, you have so much time and so much freedom when you leave school to explore so many different opportunities. And also be open to the fact that it might change. Like what you think you want to do when you're older can change so many times. It has for me. Like I thought I was going to be a physio, and then I changed my mind before the degree, thought I would do journo, then thought business. Now I'm thinking videos, and I've definitely stuck with this more, but maybe what I do will change. And that's a part of it. I think to think that you have a purpose and you always want to do this thing and always be driven by this one passion, this one thing for your entire life, is probably unrealistic for the average person. So be willing to try different things even when you're enjoying something, and see what you enjoy, what you can see yourself doing and trying to monetize. What do you see as staying as a hobby? As a starting point, I think you should just ask yourself, what do you truly love doing, and start there. How do you deal with anxiety around commitment? Doing something worthwhile and giving yourself like a true chance of success, it requires that level of commitment where you take a leap of faith and you kind of step into the unknown, and you don't know when you take that leap if you're going to fall or not. So look, it's scary, and I'm scared of it for sure. But if something or someone matters enough to you, count to 3 and then just take the leap, because it could just be the best thing you ever do. And often the negative consequences won't be nearly as bad as you thought they would be in your head. And there's like this magic in just committing to something, because the feeling of taking a leap of faith, it feels like there's a sense of glory. It's really courageous. I think that's because it's vulnerable, because to take that commitment, that leap, you have to be open to get hurt by the thing. It's scary, but if it matters enough to you, count to 3 and just jump. And I think the more often you do that, the more you'll realize that the negative consequences aren't nearly as bad as you think that they are, that come from commitment. So how do you find purpose? God, purpose. What the fuck is purpose, really? How do you find purpose? If you won the lottery today, what would you do next? And what would your like day-to-day life look like? What would be your perfect day? I think that's a good starting point, but there's no formula like I've found to finding purpose. And I wouldn't get hung up in this idea of like finding it. Like purpose is just out there waiting for you to find it and be aligned with it or something. Thinking about like that can really eat you up about what you're doing and being like, fuck, is this my purpose? Or, oh, is this the thing I'm meant to do for the rest of my life? Yeah, that's a bit of a dangerous mindset to be in with purpose. But I think, yeah, thinking about if you won the lottery today, what would you spend your time doing? The influence of money is such a cloud over what people think is their purpose. So finding a way to get rid of that with a question like that can be a good first domino to kind of tick over. Good first step to take in figuring out what that purpose could be for you. Why do you think you should be giving advice to people? Good question. Because what I'm giving advice about, I've lived it. I've experienced the feeling of not belonging in university, not knowing how to pursue my passion, unsure of what I'm going to do with my life. I've deferred, I've taken the working holiday, I've tried other uni courses, and I've taken that leap that I was talking about, and I'm pursuing something different. And I feel that I have quite a philosophical view of the world, and I'm literate enough to turn my experiences and philosophy into advice. I feel like the topic I'm speaking on here, it's a niche that I've had a lot of experience in now, and that so far people have resonated with my advice and have found it to be helpful. I truly think that someone should be doing this everywhere. There should be someone leading the way for something. No matter how niche or small of a community there should be someone that's trying their absolute hardest to help others and be the person that makes a new path. I know that sounds like I'm over dramatizing this to be like a patriotic trailblazer in this world, but my priority is to help young people who are lost in life, just like me 6 months ago. And often me still, when I go into these ruts and feel demotivated and not sure what I'm doing here, and I have these moments of anxiety, I feel like I've actually turning to myself for advice. Someone should be leading, someone should be giving advice. And I've got this opportunity to be the one that gives it to others. So that's why I think I should be giving advice to people. Final question, what's the ultimate goal? Well, I actually spent a few hours at a cafe this morning writing down my goals for 2024 and my goals in its absolute entirety. What I see my future self being and who I want to become. I'm going to be completely honest and I'll share with you guys what I wrote this morning. Courage is vulnerability, so here we go. Okay. My mission is to help 16 to 25-year-olds find their way in the world and not be chained to the images of success that they've been brought up with through school. I want to show others my age that you don't have to go to university if it isn't for you, and to take real consideration into how they spend their golden years and whether it's how they've been told to or how they truly want to. I want to encourage others to courageously create their own path outside of school, living a life true to themselves and not the expectations of others. I want to do this through making inspiring cinematography and short films, and I don't know how else just yet. I just want to lead the way and show that there's more to life than being a fucking people pleaser. On that note, thank you so much for watching the video. I hope these questions have been some sort of inspiration to you and have kind of helped in some way, and I've answered the questions in a way that you've found to be digestible and make sense. I really loved answering these. I did have to cull a few similar questions, so I didn't repeat myself. If you have another question, please leave it in the comments or send me a DM and I'll answer it to the best of my ability. Yeah, this has been fun. I hope you got something out of it. Thank you for watching the video. My name's Sam. This is not Dropout Diaries. I'll see you guys when I'm looking at you.